Good morning, and thank you for being here for the Hedge Invest Newman Credit Fund monthly update of the month of August. August was relatively flat, small up, a couple of basis points for us. It was relatively uneventful in terms of the special situation book we have. There was few developments and price moved very, very marginally, while on the other side, on the macro, we had some small gains. The view remains the same and the strategy remains the same for the fund, which is to take opportunity of the dislocation to build a portfolio of idiosyncratic situation in which we believe and for which we see a defined calendar of catalysts and drivers going forward, and at the same time trying to capture some of the volatility in the markets. The main focus for the fund right now obviously is on this battle between the inflation prints and the expectation of the market of an imminent pivot of either the Fed or the ECB. We think the most likely is that inflation is still going to be printing relatively high and strongly, but at the same time the market will have a relatively muted reaction given the expectation of an impact on the economic performance. Having said that, we remain of the opinion that the most overvalued asset still remains the bond and in general fixed income in Europe. We think Europe and ECB have done a pretty good job at verbally controlling the spread, but obviously there is a situation of overvaluation, which is the bond, given the increasing interest rates on one side, and on the other side the pressure on deficit spending and energy subsidies that will come from Germany. Overall, obviously, there is a big wild card, which is the war and the war development in Ukraine. Obviously, the Ukraine offensive is being very fast and quite impressive, and that could actually push the parties to a compromise, if not a complete Russian defeat, which obviously would start triggering a repricing of the impact of the sanctions. In any case, we remain quite negative fixed income. We start liking the banking sector now, both in equity and some credit specific situations. We think the banks for the first time are in a position to enjoy the growing interest rates, and the amount of subsidy in the system, especially related to energy, should keep the loan loss provision relatively at bay. So positioning remains the same, so short fixed income, on the macro side, especially Europe, more constructive on US, very negative China and most of the emerging market, and then predominantly focus on building a good portfolio of idiosyncratic situations that could play very well in the future. Thank you.